Hello everybody and welcome to the first ever stream of literally anything I've ever done online. I'm doing this because my friends made me at gunpoint. Seriously, there's like 30 people in the room right now, just armed to the teeth. I don't have much of a choice. No, so I started playing this and posting online because I'd named it after my friends, and now everybody wants me to stream it, and here we are. If you do not know what this game is, I genuinely question how you found yourself on this part of the internet. And what you've been doing with your life, because it's been around for a while. I mean, I know it's in early access at the moment, but it has gotten so much coverage. So I'm going to do a run through just for my friends, because I promised them I'd do it, and they're mindless little peasants.
I remember days when the sun shone, and laughter could be heard from the tavern.
Yeah, so that's going to happen every now and then. Creepy narrator guy. We're going to go on a short scout mission. We're going to try and explore the Weald as much as possible. I had already told people who we're sending, so we're sending Tex. I've totally forgotten who else it was. Ariane was going, Dragon was going, and there was one other person I was sending, and I cannot for the life of me remember who it was. Who we got? We could send Grace. No, it's a rear position, so we need someone. Alright. So battle order in this is really, really important. In terms of like front row, back row style thing. And you will get pushed around. I'm sending Oscar. I'm sending Oscar in. Okay. Now this is your character screen. This is basically everything you need to know. What skills you currently have unlocked. What skills you currently have leveled up for combat. And then skills you can do through camping. The resistances you have to various things. Your current armor and equipment level. Basic stats. And then the fun part here, which is the interesting different things. So for example, Ariane likes it dark, is resistant to disease, and doesn't get stressed out by the warrens. Does more damage in the ruins, has a good chance of hitting, which is great on the leper, because the leper's a lot of just all-out damage, low accuracy kind of thing. Hates beasts, and will reduce more stress while camping or meditating. However, in the first round, she doesn't really get worked up that much, doesn't do as much damage. If her health is below half, she doesn't do as much damage. And she'll only pray in town, which doesn't work well with Meditator. And doesn't like human monsters. She currently has no stress. I like to keep my characters as relaxed as possible, which doesn't work all that well. Alright, so what we're going to do now is equip the shit out of it. So, what do we got? There was a leper. Who's got the leper amulet? Is it you? Yes, it is. No, don't. I don't want other things equipped instead. Hang on a sec. I'm going to have to take the equipment off people, just so I have everything available. Yeah, Ren's freaking out. Everybody's freaking out. So basically, you start off with just your armor and your weapon. Everybody has the same, like every class has the same armor and weapon. Through the blacksmith in town, you can upgrade. As long as you've upgraded the blacksmith enough and your character is high level enough and you've got the gold for it. And that increases various stats. So on back row characters, you get things like dodge increase. So there you can see dodge base and HP base. Like everybody gets a HP increase, and it's either dodge or protection, I think. I think it's... No, it's all dodge. Yep, all dodge. So dodge is basically whether or not they're going to hit. And then protection is damage reduction. The Crusade is really good on that because they can just artificially buff their own protection. Alright, so now that I have everything, let's equip you guys so you have a slightly better chance of not dying. Is this... I don't know, I had all this sorted and now it's all over the place. So, what do we got? There. Leper only. Less damage, but more likely to hit, which is good because I'd rather a lower hit than a miss. And yeah, reckless charm, more accuracy, less dodge. The leper can take it. They've got a really high HP and they can heal themselves. Alright. Dragon! Just so you know, in my head, if you're watching this, I just heard you go, me, like you always do. I'll give you the Talon, and there's another really good item. I've just got to find it. Bleed? Yes. No, you don't have any bleed equipped. You're all flat out. Let's smack him in the face hard. 2 to speed, 15 to damage. No, I need this. I need this on you. So this one, plus 10% chance to push or pull skills. You've got a skill here, which is come hither. Why, hello. And it's basically just get over here. It's great. Okay. Oscar. Grave Robber. I gotta say the Grave Robber is my favorite class. It's really good because basically they buff themselves as well as attack. I haven't played with Oscar very much, so he doesn't really have, he's only level 1, he's only leveled up once. Doesn't really have very many quirks at the moment. So what we're going to do less dodge, because your dodge is already high as hell, and more accuracy, because I really want you to hit, and then just some resistances. Now, so the way this reads is that you have a better chance at resisting disease, blight, and bleed. However, you have a worse chance to inflict them. And the benefits of that is that the Grave Robber doesn't actually have a bleed, a blight, or a stun. Or at least the way I'm playing it doesn't. Does it? No. Poison Dart is a blight, but I don't actually have that. And Toxin Trickery, which is basically a self-buff. So all of these are just flat-out damage. You're done, and finally Tex with your creepy little Plague Doctor face. Look at you, weirdo. Alright, now the Plague Doctor. You're more likely to die, but you're better with your stats. And there we go. So take your HP down, but your accuracy's up, and you are gonna blight and bleed. Blight, bleed, heal, extra damage. Which I think with this is probably not needed. And I could probably get away with using something else instead, but that one's leveled up, so that's the one we're going to use. Now this is the 3 dungeons that are currently available. These are, I've got a full roster, I can't upgrade it any further, and these are the 10 character classes that are currently in the game. The wiki lists 3 more character classes that haven't been released yet, and these 2 dungeons, as you can see, this region will be added later. Over here you've got the information, the reward. It's only a short dungeon, so don't get any, don't get a lot of rewards. You've got to explore 90% of the rooms to succeed and get this. You can pick up other treasure while in the dungeon and take that back with you regardless of whether you succeed or not. But if you succeed and come back to town, they're all like, woo! But if you fail and retreat, they take stress. So take the old road into the wood and then pick any of the dozens of dark paths. Test that path and then return with your heads intact. That's basically a scout. Now short means that we don't camp. I may do another one that camps. This creepy old fuck here is the caretaker. And he's here to milk some of our goods. Okay. So short, we probably only need 8 food, 8 torches. We're going into the... where are we going? Going into the Weald, which means... we need 4 of these, because Blight, that's a thing that happens. That's a thing that happens a lot. I might take that, and no, that's enough. Now, I spent about 2 grand on this expedition, so I need to make the money back. I haven't spent... I've completely lost my train of thought. Spent 2 grand, need to make that back, and I will with the reward.
I knew all these paths once. Now they are as twisted as my own ambitions.
Yeah, so I'll make that back with the reward, so I really do need to find treasure in this one. Now, this is it. Now, we have to explore 90% of route, so really the best way is to come along here, and then just go here, and just ignore this room completely. Depends on what's scouting. Basically, we move from room to room. So we've got 4 tabs. We've got the map, the inventory, the quirks tab, and that. We can just right-click to get this. You can use this to change party order, both in and outside of combat. For the most part, it's just useful to realign stuff if you get pushed around too much. This should be okay. So she's got 30 out of 100 stress, which should be fine. It's only a short dungeon. Yeah, so let's begin. Basically, you click on the room, and then move down the corridor. And as you move down the corridor, you're going to come across various things, like, for example...
Nature herself, a victim to the spreading corruption. Malformed with misintent.
Now there's various blockages throughout the different dungeons depending on what one you're in. Because we're more in the wilds here, it's this. We can clear the obstacle by hand, but we lose light, and more bad things happen the less light you have. More stress happens the less light you have, and also everybody takes damage and cops stress from it. But I'm just going to shovel, because screw that. Oh, that was eventful. Okay, so we've hit below 75 light. We've gone from bright to dim. Now here, there, as you can see, is more stress, less scouting, and less chance for monsters to be surprised. You'll see in a minute when I flare up a torch, the stress has disappeared and we've got a better chance for scouting and a better chance for monsters. Now scouting is that the next pathway will be revealed. Alright, so we haven't come across anything. I like the artwork. I am a really big fan of the background. It really adds to the sense of things, and the shadow lighting on the characters is unreal. I'm probably going to be quiet for a little bit. I missed something here. Hello. Now this is never ever good. And he got the Blight, which is basically damage over time. But we have a Blight cure. Realistically, I should have gotten Oscar's character to do that, because it has a better Blight resist, and they can resist the afflictions of that actually happening. Alright, crack another torch, and here we go. Alright, so we got surprised, which means that they got turned around. Thankfully, only collect bounty cannot be used from that position. Everything else can. And I really want to kill this guy.
Obliterated.
Which I didn't expect to do in one go, but I think it's because these guys are all quite high level. Now, do I have... that's lunge, pick to the face, thrown dagger, or shadow fade. I can't do shadow fade, but... now you can see here that the grave robber buff to their own accuracy is part of it. That's why I really like the character class. Here you can see basically the stats for this attack working. Now this here, you can see where the red dots are joined hits first and second position. However, this guy takes up first and second position, so it's only going to get him. Down the bottom, 80% chance to hit, 10% chance to crit, and between 4 and 7 damage on a standard hit. And this one, however, is 7 to 14 with the same stats. So I am going to use this, and that sucked. And I'm going to buff his damage. Oh, that's... Right, so my party order completely screwed.
Press disadvantage.
But
Give them
Gravedigger,
no quarter.
again, great chance to hit, great chance to crit. Really useful. Now these two attacks from the Bounty Hunter are conditional. This one does an extra 40% damage if the monster is stunned, and the first one does an extra 100% damage if the monster is marked, which is great, but I think I'm going to get a bleed on him. Get some damage over time. Now what do we got? 7 to 11, 5 to 8, 5 to 8. Lunge it is.
The bigger the beast, the greater the glory.
And Spoils of War. Shovel, Gold, Bleed Charm. Ah, nice. And more anti-venom. Gonna take that. Just gonna rearrange party order. And let's crack open this chest. Ah, nice. Now food's important because every now and then in the dungeon you're just gonna randomly find that your adventurers are hungry. And if you do not have food to feed them, then... Oh, here we go. Yeah, so you can get combat in rooms as well. Stop being surprised, guys. Like, for real. You're in a dungeon. Shit's gonna pop up and scare you. Just deal with it.
Be gone, fiend.
However, those enemies are really easy to defeat. They don't often give treasure, but... Alright, so I'm gonna take that torch and instantly use it. Yeah, party order is important. You can get combat in the passageways as well as popping up here in the room. Ah, so Scout has triggered, which means... Oh, nice. So this room has an interactable item in it. This passageway has like a chest or something we can open and combat. This one has combat in the same. This one has 2 traps. And then nothing. So I'm probably just not going to go this way. Really happy that that's worked out that way. Alright, now... So this is the interactable item. We get another torch. We're below, so I am just going to bust that out. And combat should occur here. There we go. Ah! Man, I hate the dogs. Now the thing that bugs me about these dogs is that they sometimes are really, really hard to hit, and also can infect you with rabies. Now, had I thought to bring bandages, this would be okay, but I mean, 63% chance to hit, and wow, alright, that's not bad at all. I mean, 1 more damage would have killed him, but... Alright, can you heal... Alright, so it's cured the bleed and healed for 2, which is like the weakest heal in the game, but also very useful. Into
a faint hope
that was not the best move. The cure also takes away blight and bleed. So like it's the weakest numerical cure, but the most versatile. And I should have thrown daggers and that, not lunge. Alright. Either one of these.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Got the same chance to hit, and pick to the face.
This expedition at least promises success.
Now I can't fix that, so he's just gonna bleed out over the next 2 like turns effectively. I knew it. There's always something in a room with an interactable. We need to get rid of spitters at the back because they are just trouble. can't attack the back row, so just make light work of the front. Kind of wanted that damage elsewhere. Like, if I'd hit that, would have been outright, but there's no guarantee that would work. But what do we got? 5 to 8. Yep.
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
Gonna bandage Dragon so he stops bleeding. And Oscar, open the coffin. Nothing inside. That's delightful. Okay, and we've got another combat in here. So, more dogs. And you can see, like, as each dog attacks, its positioning is changing. Come on, Dragon. Get your head in the game.
Dazed, reeling, about to break.
So positioning is very important in this game. Certain attacks can only be made from certain positions. You can only hit people in certain positions. And let's finish it off with another lunge. And obviously certain attacks will shift your position around. The shadow fade, you can lunge and then the next turn shadow fade, and then basically that moves you forward and that moves you back. Alright, what do we... Empty crate. How are we going? Well, we need another torch. So, we've got a little bit of gold, and we've got a trinket, which I'm okay with. We don't have any relics at the moment. Relics are basically what you use to upgrade your town. Please forgive the truck noises. I'm doing this with the windows open. Fresh air, everybody.
The way is
it's important
lit.
When you're gaming.
The path is clear. We require only the strength to follow it.
Now, obviously, you can select who it is that you want to interact with objects, and you need to.
Wealth beyond measure, awarded to the brave and the foolhardy alike.
You do have to think who you want to interact with items.
In Radiance, may we find victory.
Well, now he's just doing it deliberately, because, like, Dragon's character might have the least amount of stress on the team. Well, he's equal with Oscar, but he also has the lowest health. So I don't necessarily want him interacting with items that are going to stress him out. Alright, so here we go. Hunger. Exertions of adventuring have produced a growing hunger amongst the party. I can regain 5% of our max health, or take 20% damage and stress. Obviously eating, always the best thing to do. You do not want to be stuck without food. This is probably going to blight us. Nope, we got treasure. And more food. Alright. And there we go. So we've finished this quest. It wasn't a hard one, it was only a short dungeon. I'm more than happy to send everybody back now, because Tex actually has less stress now than what she started with, just because we did so well in combat. What have we got in terms of rewards? So Onyx gives rewards, Jade, flat out gold, and then these, plus this, and then there's all of this that we just haven't used, so bugger it, I'm going back. Now, here we go. So, every now and then when you retrack, not only does light cost less,
the promise of safety.
Like, you don't take up as much light for retracking places that you've been on, but you also have a chance to randomly spawn a combat. Now that guy, the reason I'm always aiming at the back is because they have a lot of, like I've got my utility and my damage in the back row, and I've got my tanks in the front row. Like I could whittle them down, and this guy in the background would be hitting every single one of us, just over and over again. For a couple of points of damage each, but spread out, it's significantly higher damage than like a single target. So I don't particularly want that to happen, and I'm just making sure that I'm keeping that as low as possible. Now, the little yellow marks beside them show you who hasn't acted yet.
Destroyed.
Oh god, I love it when that happens. So you can kind of get an idea of who's going to go next, and then obviously
Mortality clarified in a single strike.
that was not the best thing.
How quickly the tide turns.
You're just being a dick now, Mr. Narrator.
Prodigious size alone does not dissuade the sharpened blade.
Yeah, I might have played this too much. So yeah, when scouting back an area, you don't take up as much light. You will have a chance to come across more combat, so it is still a little bit risky, especially if you're on high health and a low health and high stress kind of thing. But I like to keep a track on that. The only problem is that I'm so busy watching this, is that I'll just walk into a trap without seeing it. And like it's there. If you pay attention, you can see them on the ground, and you can disarm them if your trap resistance is high enough. You just have to not be a moron.
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
Alright, so here, this, for example, is trap. Now, 20% chance trap, 50% chance trap. I think that's 50 as well, and we have 35. Well, Oscar, you have the best. 19 and 24, not 26 of 35, so you've got the most. Didn't disarm it.
Ambushed
now,
by foul invention.
So the good news is that it's a blight, which we can cure. The bad news is that he cops stress for it. Had I not had this on hand, the anti-venom, I would have just been taking damage. Oh joy, a torch. I really don't need them at this stage. Got another trap. Come on, dragon, you can do this. Nicely done. Alright, I'm just gonna burn all our torches.
As the light gains purchase, spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear.
Just in case we end up with combat. And we don't. Well, that was an easy dungeon.
Paths and roads bring soldiers and supplies. Let them arrive unharried.
You guys can probably hear me breathing. I don't care. Okay, so we get this. We also collected this, which we get, and we get 4 crests. Also, we have the experience. So Oscar leveled up to Resolve level 2, which means I can upgrade him further. And we also get quirk development. Alright, Ariane hates mankind. That one's a little bit on the nose. Dragon is more resistant to disease. Tex is nervous and likes to slay men. Yeah, Tyke, if you are watching this, I know you're biting your knuckle, buddy. Alright, look, so that...
I was lord of this place before the crows and rats made it their domain.
That is half an hour of footage. I'm probably going to call it here, but I'll show you... So week 45. So they return from the dungeon. Oscar leveled up. I have completed some of the goals already, which is kill these 3 things in the easy version, and then kill these 3 things in the medium, and then the hard, and then get everybody up to level 6. Basically the quest goals, aside from obviously completing the dungeon. Alright, but you'll see things like this. So last week Luke, Tyrone, Ren, and Rose 2.0, because Rose has died once, killed the Necromancer. Prior to that, the blacksmith had been leveled up. Johnny exited the brothel with a skip in their step after a memorable evening. Yeah, I'm not going to touch that one, but he developed a positive quirk, which means he gets bonus speed. He also recovered 100 stress. He was completely bad, you know. But you get situations where every now and then somebody, like with Johnny, he came back from the brothel with a new quirk, but every now and then people will do things and just kind of disappear for a week. I'm just trying to find a situation. Nobody's done it for a while. Nope. Tex was caught marking cards and has become a known cheat. Not allowed to gamble while in town. That's when I lost Tex 2.0. Oh, here we go, yes. So, Celia has left. Prayed and recovered 86 stress and is no longer fearful. Has left in search of a holy vision. So I couldn't actually use Celia for my next dungeon run until she came back. And I've had Dragon and Luke go out on drunken binges and various things like that. So this is the town. Blacksmith can upgrade the armor if I have it high enough. Currently I do not. I need 23 crests, of which I have 17, and 34 deeds, of which I have 4. So that's not going to happen anytime soon, but that's okay, because I also need my hero to be level 4, and that isn't going to happen anytime soon. But yeah, so the guild, you basically reduce cost by 10%, so 50% off, and your skills. So for example, but most of the time they do a little bit more damage and they're more accurate. Up here is the Abbey, where you can pray. Here's the caretaker. Every now and then he'll take up an activity, which can be really annoying, especially early game. I could upgrade these, so increase number of slots or reduce treatment cost. But I'm trying to get enough choice to get the final cost reduction. Now the sanitarium, you would think the sanitarium's what reduces stress, but what it does is it gives you the option of taking away one of the character's negative quirks. And it does cost, like I've got 4 out of the 5 cost reduction upgrades, and it's still costing me just under $1,000 just to get rid of one single one. So, like off Tyrone, I'd probably take away Off Guard, which lowers his speed and dodge in the first round. And then after I've done that, I'll be increasing the infirmary so I can get rid of more quirks at once. Tavern, bar, gambling, brothel, pretty stock standard there. The stagecoach I don't even use anymore. It brings in new people, and I'm so focused on keeping everybody alive that that doesn't it. But I love it. They come to the town and they're just so excited. They're like, yeah, we can do this. And then everybody here is just freaking out. But you can upgrade the hero barracks, which is how many people you have on hand, and upgrade how many people appear each week. Aside from that, here you can purchase trinkets, change the trinket cost and the amount of trinkets that are available, and we didn't actually get to camp, so I can't really show you much about camp, but here you can basically unlock different camping skills. So Tyrone, for example, has Encourage. It reduces stress by 10. He also has Planned Takedown. He buffs himself that he does 25% more damage against a monster that takes up the first 2 slots, so really big monsters. That kind of thing. There are various different things you can do in camp. Reduce stress, increase resistances to stress, increase damage, accuracy. Depends on the character. There's also a really common just bandage wounds, which increases obviously your health. So that's pretty much the game. The relics are used to upgrade the town. Gold spends on basically everything. Upgrading characters mostly. Outfitting them, buying trinkets, that kind of thing. I love it because there's a lot to this game. It's not particularly a simple game. It's a very stressful game. It's very engaging. And it's solid. There's no things I would change. There's no bugs that I've encountered. The only thing that I would change would be a combat initiative order. Like at the moment it gives you what round you're in, and then each character down the bottom will have a little mark showing whether or not they've acted in that round. And I think it's deliberate that they do not include a combat initiative order, because it makes it more stressful, because you don't know, you know? So the only thing I would change if I do it would be that initiative order, but at the same time I think that would actually detract from the game. So that is it. That is basically a playthrough of Darkest Dungeon for the Darkest Waiteth Estate. I am that wait guy, and if you want to see more of these, send money. Yeah, that's my professional advice. All right, thanks for watching, and have a great day.